Okay, and I am here with an update on my Kit Conspiracy kit for this week, which is my cookbook that I am doing with the What's Cooking, and I ran into a snag, so there was no video yesterday. And this is the recording for yesterday's and today's, so it is a very long one. Here I'm just sharing with you guys that I went on my computer, typed out a bunch of recipes that my boys wrote down. I had each of them give me a list. That was their lists I was sharing with you guys. I'm also going to be holding my notebook open with this large clip, because if not, it's actually not a notebook, it's a binder. But if not, it flops open a lot, and it got in my way. So my first thought process was that I'm going to put a recipe on the back of my divider cards. They were the perfect size. I had a bunch of recipes that took a little bit or needed a little bit more room than some of my other recipes. And so printing them out in an 8x6 format was absolutely perfect. And so I thought, well, why not? It's a blank space and it's going to be perfect. For these double page protectors, I think is what they're called. I have no idea. I'm just going to be putting normal recipe cards in there and then backing them with the papers, right? So there's not going to be anything special to them. There's not going to be anything noteworthy put on them, because I want the kids to be able to open up the binder, pull the binder out, and then go ahead and put the recipe on like a cake stand or a recipe stand or something like that, not a cake stand. So here I also have one that is in 3 cards. Now I can do this one of 2 ways. I can have flip-flops, and here I'm just sharing with you guys different options of flip-flops. I can have the recipes facing each other, one on top of the other, things like that, because it's in stages. Or I can put 2 recipes on one side and one on the other side. And that is how I'm going to have it for right now, just because I don't have my flip-flops pulled out. Now, I also printed these drink mixes that my children asked for on a regular 4x6. I think that they're a waste, and I have pockets for 3x4. So I'm going to trim those down and put them in the 3x4 format, just so that way they don't take up as much space. I have a couple extra main dishes that, or I should say soups, that take up an 8x6 pocket card as well. And so I'm just going to go through the book and put in all the recipes. I have them split up between whether they're a main dish or breads or something like that. I also have one that is for this Alfredo in a pasta bowl, Alfredo in a bread bowl. And I have the Alfredo recipe. I just don't know what I did with it. So I will have to go and print that one out. I couldn't remember if it was on a regular card or an 8x6. So I'm going to leave both spots available for me. And then when I get to the this and that category, I have not printed those out yet because I haven't done the 3x4 cards. And those will be like seasoning mixes that we have, homemade mayonnaise mix, how to make your own frosting from scratch, how to make your own not broths, but cheese sauce, things like that. I want to be able to put inside the this and that area. So the next thing I'm going to be working on, now that all of my recipes are on, I'm going to go and cut down all of my papers for all of the books. I'm going to cut down every single one of them into 4x6, 8x6, and 3x4. So that way the whole project is already done. And then what I'm doing here is basically separating everything out. Some of them I got 2 colors out, or 2 pockets out of. Some of them I got 4 pockets out of. Some of them I will have to flip back to back, so that way I can cover up the cut-aparts that were on the other side, so I have a solid print instead of just random cut-aparts that I didn't think would look very well on a, as a background to a recipe card. So so I'm going to go ahead and put everything in the pockets. I know that I will be pulling them out again to glue them all together. That is just such a mundane step, but I wanted to put all of the pockets within or all of these cards within the pocket, so that way I can gauge how big of a book I already have. So my first guesstimate was that I have two 6x8 pocket pages. I have 2 two 2x4 pocket pages, and then 2 pocket pages that have the 4x3s times 2 and a 4x6. That is what I have in each divider, in between each divider. And by the time that I add all of this cardstock and pattern paper, which I did add cardstock just so that way I could add some solids, because I plan on taking my ink pads and just running the ink over them and creating just a solid cardstock instead of having a lot of patterns throughout this whole book. I think the solids will do a lot of good. I also found some cardstocks that have an embossed layer on them, so when I run my ink pad over, that white will stay glossy, and I think it'll look pretty cool. I've got a checkerboard, some stripes, and I think polka dots, so I think they'll look really cool. And I was able to get enough pieces to split between all 3 books, so all 3 books had a little bit of those types of cards. So here's where I figure out that I had my book is too thick, and my issue is that I couldn't flip through the pages on my tiny little rings as nicely as I wanted to. I felt like, especially if they're boys, that they're going to rip the divider cards. So that's another thing that I also have to consider too, is going and getting those protectors, those little round rivet things that you put on the front and back of your paper that will help keep the whole fortified or stabilized. I don't even know what they're called, you guys, but I know they exist. So I'm going to go and end up getting those. And then this was supposed to be today's video. So now that I've got my book all organized and everything was coming together, and I flipped through, it was lots of flipping yesterday, you guys, loads of flipping. Trust me, you did not miss anything. But I'm so excited because I was able to see and judge how big this book is going to get. Should I keep adding more things to it? Now, I do know I want to add photos in some of the 3x4 pockets, and I want to add photos to some of these recipes as well. So in my 4 or 6x8 recipes that don't have the photo like these ones do, I want to be able to add those photos for when we make the recipes. I just haven't done it yet, or I haven't gone through and checked out my my photo library yet to pick out the pages that oh my god, the pictures I want to put in these albums just yet. I haven't done that. So another thing that I am doing is I'm just starting from the first divider. I'm ignoring all of the pages, and I just thought that I would go from divider to divider. I'm debating whether or not I want to add a wood piece onto these dividers because I have a wood piece on the front. But since it's going to be sitting on a shelf within, amongst other recipe books, I wasn't too worried about the divider or the wood veneer being on both sides of the dividers, because it's not like I'm going to put a wood veneer throughout the whole book, which I plan on it. Because I have some really cool titles that I would like to add to the front of the page protectors. But for right now, I'm just going to play it by ear, basically, and see where I want to put the elements at. So right here, I'm just picking a bunch of negative places that seem like a good way to use up dead space in the recipe, right? Make it look a little bit more full and unique, too. So it has a small little personal touch. I absolutely love having all of these stamped tabs and tickets, or tabs and tags already ready to go. It just makes for a super quick and easy way to put them all together. But I do have to tell you guys, so here I believe I am on, which I think I have a spelling error. No, it's not a spelling error. It's a font error in one of my books, because where the category is for veggies and sides, one of them is proper case, where all the others are all capitalized. So I do have one small little issue, but it's not that big of a deal to where I'm going to notice it. And I don't know if my boys would even pay attention to the fact that it even is up there. So I'm not too worried about it. I also am debating, let me know if you guys are interested, I'm debating about putting all of these recipes in a Dropbox folder available for anybody that is interested. So if you guys are, then the next video that I do, I will have the Dropbox link down in the description box. It's not in this video because I didn't get your answer yet. But if you guys are, let me know. Leave me a comment. I would be more than happy to throw them all since they are already done up and ready to go for you guys. So yeah, and they're just random recipes that my kids enjoy cooking, either from my past childhood or from recipes that I tried 1.5 million years ago and I've stuck with them. I honestly do not know who to give credit to these recipes. I just love sharing recipes and trying new recipes. And I mean, I just love it, you guys. It's one of my favorite hobbies to do is collect recipes, try recipes, cook, things like that. I can't say I'm a chef, but yeah. So I got to the main dishes. I was getting ready to put or to fussy cut out what's cooking so that way it'll fit across my divider card. And then I went to bed and I had a nightmarish dream and woke up this morning realizing that if my boys are like what we are now, so we've got this big giant notebook where I've pulled recipes off of the internet and I've put them in a binder. It's not a notebook, it's a binder. And when we go to cook out of that binder, we take the binder down, pull out the page protector that has the recipe, put it in our recipe stand, and cook the recipe, right? And then we put the book away because it's such a big, obnoxious book. If my kids did that with the divider pages, over time, the divider pages will become damaged. And I did not want them to do that. I just want them to be pretty little pages within the book. So I am thinking that having a recipe on the outside of the divider or on the other side of the divider is not a very good idea. So I'm taking up all of the pages and crossing my fingers that I'm not going to be messing them up, and putting them in a 8x6 page protector. That way the kids can just pull out the page protector with the recipe on it and it will be ta-da, right? Now these page protectors, these recipes can be printed at 8.5 by 11 at regular size. I just put 2 on a page. So that way, that's how I ended up with the 8x6, which is actually smaller than 8x6. I didn't actually measure it, but clearly you can tell it's smaller than 8x6 because my pattern paper is 8x6. So anyways, now that I'm back to where I need to be, I am going to go ahead and finish putting all of these pieces together for you guys and do all of the 8x6 pages. Like I said, I do not plan on decorating the 4x6 pages or the 4x3 pages because I think that that's too much of a distraction. I think that it would look a little bit on the too much for me side, but when I do add photos, I will be adding a little bit of embellishing and things like that to the photos in that little area, just so that way I could use up my embellishments, because I have to say I have very little paper left. And when I say very little paper, I think I have just the leftovers from making the front covers, if I'm being honest, or not the front covers, the divider pages. That's it. That's all that I have as far as papers go. I was able to divide and conquer all of my pattern papers. And then of course I went to my white cardstock to fill in the blanks. So yeah, I definitely have a lot of embellishments. I think I have more wood embellishments than I do anything else. Everything else is playing nicely. And I did take the whole journaling cards on the page protector or on the pattern paper and cut all those out as well. And I'm using those on these 8x6 recipes. So when it comes to this dinner roll one, I did do a Thanksgiving theme. Now I do have a specific little spot where I would like to put a photo. I have a small, it's called a sprocket. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that or aware of what a sprocket is, but it is a teeny tiny little printer. Probably maybe 3x4 in size. It prints 2x3 photos. I think that's the largest size photo that it does. And they come out sticky backed. And so I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be perfect. If I just leave this little area right here for a photo, I can use my little sprocket straight from my cell phone, print out the photo, and it's already sticky backed, and glue it right there in place to where I don't have to go and mess with my photo printer, right? Not that it's a big deal on the photo printer, but trying to get it to print that small from the photo printer, from my phone to the photo printer and things like that. I think it takes like 3 apps. 3 apps in 4 hours. It'll be fine. So yeah, I was thinking the sprocket, and that's where I came up with my little reserved blank space is by drawing a box of that size. So that way when I go to print the sprockets. But these dinner rolls, I make only on Thanksgiving because it takes hours. If you guys can see it up at the top, it says prep time is 4 hours because there's 2 different times where it has to sit and rise. So the very first time when you make the dough, it has to sit and rise. And then when you separate the dough and put them in the in the cupcake tins, then it has to rise again because you've manhandled it, right? And so it does take hours for the dough to rise. And so I use that for a Thanksgiving thing. And so I thought, you know what, this whole collection is full of Thanksgiving goodies. And I don't know when I will ever use a turkey unless I have a turkey recipe to put in this book. So yeah, I'm going to smack that turkey right there because my kids will know that these are Thanksgiving dinner rolls. Actually, that's what they called. If you look at my son's notes, he actually says Thanksgiving rolls on his list of what he wanted. And so they're just called dinner rolls. They're actually called pull apart rolls because you take 3 little balls and you put them in a cupcake and then they bake up to make these fluffy, buttery rolls. Oh my God, they are my favorite. And now I'm craving them. But it's a lot of work, you guys. So here's my favorite cheesecake. I usually only make it for my husband's birthday, but everybody, all 3 boys asked to have Mom's cheesecake. So here it is. I'm going to go ahead and put the cheesecake down. Now, I do have to say that the cheesecake, it's actually a chocolate cheesecake, a white chocolate cheesecake. So it's a little bit stiffer than the normal cheesecake. Cheesecake in like New York cheesecake and cheesecakes in the restaurants and things like that are very, very soft. And this one is a little on the firmer side when I make it, because it's got, I think, 6 ounces of chocolate in it. So yeah, I just really, it's one of my favorites. And then I made it for my husband and now he craves it. So he craves it a lot, and I usually make it for his birthday. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and some of the elements that I am using for each card pertains to the recipe as well. So when I did the bread one, I did flour and butter, and then of course the recipe paper that I had. So I did all that good stuff. This one here is lick the bowl because of course during desserts and things like that, the kids just love licking the bowl. But 2 of my boys asked for our Viking cookies that we love to make over the holidays. This is another recipe that is a holiday recipe just because of how many it makes. It's a huge batch, and I mean, they are massive cookies. It's like a sugar cookie, oatmeal cookie, and chocolate chip cookie, but it's white chocolate chip instead of or brown chocolate chip, all in one cookie. It's a monster of a cookie. And my kids love it. So again, I've got a cookie sheet and then the mixer. And then of course, I think it says my favorite because they are my favorite. They stay super soft too. I don't know. They're just so good. So good. So I wonder if I can replace the white chocolate for dark chocolate. I've never tried. I've just always done white chocolate. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put that up. Again, I have that blank space for a photo and I want to try and not cover it up. I think I covered it up just a little bit, but I did not put any adhesive behind my my mixer. So that way I can lift it up a little bit and get the photo there. Hopefully this year I will have the photos. I think I took photos last year when we did some baking. This one has 2, so this one's banana cookies, I think. Yes, banana cookies. They're actually frosted banana cookies. So there's ingredients for the icing as well as the cookies. So that'll be fun. I love making these cookies, especially when I don't have enough bananas for banana bread. And then you turn them into cookies and they stay so soft because of the bananas. Oh my god, they're so good. But you have to have a mixer for these. So when I was typing up all of these recipes, I was telling myself that it looks like my children for one of their Christmases are going to end up with mixers. So because most of these recipes you cannot make without a mixer. It would just be way too hard to get that blend that you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and, this is the one that has the flour and the butter and the recipe paper. I thought it was on the breads. I don't remember what the bread one is though. So I'm going to take the word love and actually cover it up with the word butter. Now I've just recently trimmed off all of my fingernails and now I can't seem to peel the backing off of any of my wood veneer. I don't know what my issue is, but my tweezers work really, really well at getting those up. And I am taking all of the wood veneer and coloring them with the exact same, what are they called? Paint markers, the Thule Art paint pens. I'm using the exact same colors, so there's a continuity all the way around. And I don't have to worry about, deciding what yellow to use throughout all 24 yellows that I own, things like that. So I just pulled out all the same colors, all the same inks, all the same everything. So that way it makes this project super, super quick with keeping everything within the same colors instead of changing it up every now and then. So for my this and that backer piece, instead of doing a photo, I found this conversion chart. I thought it would be perfect for my kids to be able to take things and figure out what, like if it calls for ounces, how many ounces are, how many tablespoons are in an ounce, or what is the conversion of a tablespoon to ounce, things like that. If I want to double something, then how many teaspoons is in a tablespoon, things like that. I wanted my kids to be able to have that handy. And so I have this, and then I wanted the notes up there at the top in case this conversion chart doesn't have everything that they might possibly need. Then they've got room to write another note on there. And it's right on the back of the divider card. So that way they don't have to take it out of the page protector to write that note on it. So, and then my wood veneer just says messes and memories made here. I love that. I have a picture of an egg cracked on the floor because I was teaching one of my sons to create an omelet. And so I thought that would be a fun picture to put somewhere. I don't know exactly where yet, but I just definitely want it to say something to the lines of the fact that, messes are okay. Things are going to happen. We've broken bowls. We've had flour all over the place. And it's just super fun. So I knew that there was a couple more 8x6s that I forgot. It looks like there's just the one because I have to go and find out where my Alfredo recipe is. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to go and do that. Now off camera, just to let you guys know, I will not be recording this because to me, I think it's very boring. I will be taking all of my 4x6s, gluing the recipe in the center of the card. And then of course, if the card needs to be glued together to its backside solid color, I will be doing that as well. And then I think the next thing that I'm going to be doing is finding pictures and finishing off the pictures. So, but that's pretty much it for all of these books. Is I've got my divider cards. I want to do the pictures in them still. And here I'm just doing a little flip through to let you know that I've got smaller recipes that I would like to put in the 3x4s in some areas. Most of the other 3x4s will just have the pictures where the white spots are. And then of course, there's going to be room to grow, room for them to say, hey, can you add this recipe into my book and things like that. So I'm also going through and making sure that everything is snug in its place. For some reason, the spatula did not get enough foam dots behind it, so it felt a little loose. And that is my album for you guys this this go around. I really did have so much fun. Here I'm going to have the place settings, and then I know that I have a picture that I can put next to that as well. I'm also debating whether or not to take some of these white cardstocks and put my leftover 8x6s that I have pulled out. And that's it, you guys. Thanks so much for joining me this week. This has been so fun. Again, I can't thank you enough, and I will check y'all later. Bye.